when it comes to the James Harden situation, let's just start there before we even venture into the name Damian Lillard, and then before we even mention the name Tyrese Maxey. But just James Harden, he was opting in to be traded. Now they might not trade him, but he wants to be traded, but they still might not trade him. Where the hell are we right now, Carlin, on the James Harden situation?
Okay. So
deep breath, everybody. Yeah.
Obviously a lot to unpack there, right? So listen, the Sixers are not going to trade James Harden just to trade James Harden. This is honestly, I kind of feel for Joel Embiid here a little bit, because now the second time in the last 3 years he's going to have to deal with this, because he dealt with it with Ben Simmons in the 2021-22 season. Now he's dealing with it again with James Harden. James Harden is going to be on the Sixers roster on opening night. That is my prediction. I think it's going to happen, because Daryl is not going to just trade him just because he said I want out. So Daryl is going to sit back. He's going to wait until he gets the right offer, or he's going to continue to work with James, be like, hey, man, listen, you and I have been together from our days with the Houston Rockets. We have been together, a lot in Houston. We've been through a lot here in Philadelphia. Let's sit down and let's figure this out. If we can't, we'll move on. But you got to work with me. So I think there's a good chance that they could reconcile, just because Daryl has a relationship with James that he didn't have with Ben a couple years ago. So maybe in this situation, James will show up and be a good soldier and just hoop and do what he does. But I can't help but think, when he wanted out in Houston 2 years ago, he did everything he could to get out of Houston. Lollygagging, not showing up for training camp, in the middle of games. I think there was one, I think I read some athletic report that he was throwing ball teammates in practice, like just trying to get out of Houston.
The alleged fat suit.
Yeah, the quote unquote fat suit. You know what I mean? So like, just he wasn't looking good. Then he goes to Brooklyn, and I can't really fault him for what happened in Brooklyn, because of the whole. Obviously, Kyrie Irving gets a lot of flack for what happened there, and honestly, after hearing everything and seeing everything, Kyrie probably deserves a lot of the blame there. So like, I can't really fault James for this one, but it does go to show that when he wanted out of Brooklyn, it was the same thing. He was lollygagging, he was throwing balls at teammates, he was, missing team flights, like, just get me out of Brooklyn. And then obviously he got traded here to Philadelphia. So who's to know that he's not going to do the same thing this time around? So that I think that's something that has to be considered as well. Like when James Harden out, he's showing he wants out. So
go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say this. So that's what worries me so much, though, because he's supposed to have this great relationship, as you pointed out, with Daryl Morey. And if there's ever going to be a situation where Daryl Morey and James Harden were going to be on the same page and be simpatico, really to a situation where you had a player and a GM on the same page, I would expect those two to be on the same page. But yet, here we are.
Right. So I'm curious to just kind of see what happens. I mean, Daryl Morey still believes that he can work something out with James and keep him around here. And who's to know that, or who's to say that he's not going to work something out with him?
Okay.
The two of them have had such a great relationship.